is so great!
We're gonna have so much fun. First we can run with the balloon.
Yeah, then we can go to the beach with the balloon.
Yeah! Then we can take a bike ride with the balloon. Then we can go to the movies and the arcade and the ice rink and the pizza shop.
And the moon and the sky and under a car behind a dumpster.
In the candy shop.
And in my backyard.
And in a plane.
And over a rock.
And under a hill.
And with a whale.
We love borrowing! It popped.
How are we gonna return it now, SpongeBob?
I've got the pieces.
I found the air!
Hurry, put the pieces on. We popped the balloon. We can't return it. We're thieves. We have to confess.
Confess? Are you out of your mind? Do you have any idea what they do to people like us? We're not talking about some dumb mail fraud scheme or hijacking here. We stole a balloon! And they're gonna lock us up forever!
You're right. We've just got to keep our heads. Act normal.
Wow, street performers.
It's not working!
Hey yo, how's it going everyone? Entropy here today with another video. This week's big news is gonna be a little bit controversial. I hope the Vanguard Zero spies here won't just spam the dislike button, because I have a lot of things and thoughts I like to talk about. And again, these are just thoughts and opinions, so you know, it's okay if you dislike it, but at the end of the day, what can we do but talk about it? So I guess as usual, we will start with the JP news, and then we will get to the global news. This week global will get a bigger portion. Honestly, usually these news segments, global isn't that big of an emphasis, but this is quite big. So let's talk about it. JP global, let's get into it. So let's get started with JP. Here we see that there was a tournament for the winter qualifier, and the distribution is 25.5% Shadow Paladin, 17.5% Link Joker, and then 11.6% Kagero, and everything is less than 10%. Really, like some Novas, some Darker Regulars, and then less than that, 5% of Narukami, OTT, Neo Nectar surprisingly, and then everything else is, you know, a little handful, really. Overall, you will see that this is mostly reflective of what we are seeing in JP tier list. JP tier list back at set 14 put Shadows, Link Joker, and Dark Regulars as the top 3 decks contending in tier 1, and then everything else very much close back to back in tier 2 and tier 3-ish, but not very that much popular. But we still see Kagero and Novas still really popular picks, and Narukami is still hanging in there. OTT with Tsukiyomi is still right there, and Neo Nectar is a new clan event, so that might explain the popularity, even though it's not rated that highly, really. So let's look at the winners for the different blocks. So we have Tarte with Spike Brothers. This list is actually surprisingly similar to my list. The only difference is one less of these 7 on place superior call ones. So I think, you know, I have to say pretty solid, because it's looking good. It's really consistent, it's solid. Lots of 4-ofs, and does what you need to do. And a lot of people are asking me like, oh, how do I think about spikes in this current meta? I think it's actually performing. It's going to perform better. It's actually performing pretty well right now, especially when Link Joker is like every 3rd game or so, from my experience. Being able to still push that aggression and not get punished for it, and still have that big burst right at your end game is really big. And you hit numbers and wombo combo your opponent to death. So I definitely think that Spike Brothers is still up there, really. And well, we'll have to see where it ends up by the end of the next set, or so on and so forth. But you can see, well, even in the set 14 meta, Spikes is still showing up. And I'd argue it's especially because Chaos Breaker Dragon is quite popular, so Spikes have more room in the meta to maneuver. Next up, we have some crit Tsukiyomi. Now this is quite interesting. Sometimes these lists have typos. I don't believe that this is a typo this time around. We have 6 crit 3 draw. Okay, we have Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi is still the primary OTT deck that people are bringing to tournaments and seeing success with. Of course, there is Magus splashed in it. But overall, you're still seeing your Tsukiyomi core, you're still seeing your Silent Toms, and so on and so forth. So if you are still playing an OTT, you are an OTT player, and you have your Tsukiyomi stuff, well, definitely it's valuable to play around with the Mega stuff, because we've seen success with the Mega stuff added onto the Tsukiyomi core already. So can't wait to see more of these in ladder. I don't think it's that popular anymore because people like playing new stuff, but still doing strong, still going strong. Next we have Chaos Breaker Dragon. As we said, it's quite popular. We have Palladium, I believe it's like the pseudo Omega Locker, which is really good. We have Colony Maker, which helps you plus 9+3s that help you hit numbers. So I think overall with the new set of support, it's not just about Chaos Breaker Dragon, it's the support that you have. Colony Maker, Palladium, I think they're making a big impact. You're gonna play that starter because it's counterblast less. So overall, pretty simple. If you are a global player, know that Infinite Zero Dragon is a ranked reward. You would have picked up a free Nebula Lord from the event. But yeah, so definitely do check that out on the Chaos Breaker Dragon set. They also had the revival medal, so every 50 packs you open, you can trade for one old triple rare. So if you're still missing your Nebula Lords and stuff, you can trade for that if you're still missing it. But overall, really nice cohesive deck right now in JP. Definitely performing better than what we have in global right now, especially with the early Dust Tail nerf, which is really unfortunate. But as we have seen in the last week with the set 15 meta, with so many unlockers going around in the meta, it's going to be a little tougher for Chaos Breaker Dragon, but still a really solid deck nonetheless with checks now. And lastly, we have Komai with Silverthorns. So Silverthorns is going to come out soon for global in three weeks time, almost a little bit over 3 weeks. Silverthorn is a really solid deck as well. I definitely don't think it's seeing the representation that it deserves. Definitely very solid in my opinion. I haven't tested this deck, of course, but from what I've seen, I definitely do think that it has potential near the tier 2 space, and it has a lot of nice stuff you can do. You see here, they're playing the old PG, not the Silverthorn one, because, well, most of your cards soul charge Silverthorn names, so if you want to avoid soul charging PGs, like you do even with the restrictive soul charging that Genesis have, well, then you play the old PGs. It protects you from those stray crits that you might see sometimes, like here, for example, and it's nice sometimes, really. All right, so that's really cool. And I guess Karis just brings up the fact that all clans was used except Granblue and Murakumo. Don't know what you want to infer with that, whether they're unpopular or whether they're bad. But make that conclusion yourself, I guess. So Infinite Zero season ends, and then we have some more reveals after last week. So we have one last Jewel Knight, Camille. So Camille's skill is, at your start of your main phase, kind of last one to call a Jewel Knight from your deck. Not bad. Your units get the ability, if you have 4 or more Jewel Knights rearguards, it will require 1 less count. So what that means is, your 9+3s or 7+3s actually work with 3 or even less when you have this on the board. So that's nice. And then when there's attacks +3, so that's not bad. We have Goddess of 4 Seasons, Persephone. So this is the Genesis unit. Limit Break 4, Soul Blast 6 to check top 3. Add 1 to your hand, put the rest at the bottom. So this is similar to Artemis. When placed, put 3 of the same card name as one of your rearguards from a drop zone or your deck into your soul with priority to drop zone. So this is pretty neat, I think. This definitely helps you fix up your soul and helps you get to your 6 Soul Blasts much more smoothly. Whether you're soul charging your Shamomals for your combos, or whether the Witches of Orange, Valencias, or whatnot, you have a lot of utility with this card. Unfortunately, it's Vanguard only though. So, and then lastly, when attack soul charge 1 to get +1. So that's cool. We have Goddess of Trees, Jupiter. So this is 9+3 of Regalia, and Apple Witch Cider. When placed, your Vanguard gets the following skill. During your opponent's turn, your activated Sentinels and retired rearguards are put into your soul instead of your drop zone. So that is quite cool, because it helps you fuel your soul. If you have 2 intercepts and a PG that you might proc, well, that's already 3 soul. Even if you play this in the early game and you have 2 intercepts, well, that's already +2 soul. You also get to reuse your Shamomals or whatever if they're in the front row. So that's really, really nice, honestly. All right, and then there's a little Tsukiyomi bug, and we have the Valentine's event for JP for this month. It's Be With You, so we are getting Kote and Chris representing DP and Great Nature. So that's really cool. I definitely think Chris is looking real good with those pins especially, and Kote looks good as always. So that's neat. So yeah, there's a calendar. You can definitely go check out the Discord. I always link it in the description down below, so you will check out what is to come for February. Of course, it's not the most updated because generally in the halfway point you get to see what's up with the next half of the month. But for now, you get to see that the Be With You event has already started in JP. So if you haven't started with that already, go get started. And there's a little change for Tempest Bolt. I think it's a typo. There's some server errors, some compensations. You get a gacha pack and 50 stamina, so that's really cool. And then there are some responses to particular situations. So if you want to read this up, I think you definitely can give it a read. I think it's just about interactions, about Apple Witch Cider, Chaos Breaker, and Seal Dragon Blockade. So the conditions are slightly different. So they're basically saying that the Blockade Inferno will be patched in the future. So that there's no contradiction between the activation of the skill. So this is I think this is quite big actually. I've just heard of this, but you know, I hope they get this fixed before it hits global, so then we don't have this kind of situation arising. But thank you all those who put the time and effort to actually go tell the devs about it. So that's it for the JP news. Let's get to the global stuff, the juicy stuff. All right, on with global. Let's check out what is going on with global. There's quite a bit. So since last week, we've seen that there's the update. There's a calendar. I think we've talked about this, and we see that the starters got nerfed early, and the buffs that some units got from set 13 came early. So I don't know if there's a specific list here. But from the top of my head, we have Claudus nerfed, we have Linchu nerfed, and we have Gatling Claw Dragon nerfed as starters. So Claudus is Karamas 2 now, and Linchu, and Saishin. Linchu and Saishin cannot retire grade 0s anymore. Saishin changes text to retiring grade 1, and then Linchu is grade 1 or above, and then Gatling Claw as well, so grade 1 as well. So that's quite interesting. And then with the buffs, we have some Cocoa buffs. So if you check the top card and it's a PG, you add it to your hand instead of keeping it on top of or bottom, which is more in tune with the idea that if you were playing OTT in real life, well, you can still drive check and draw that PG to your hand, right? So it makes more sense that way, and it gives the OTT the more defensive approach that it really more defense that it really needs. I definitely do think that's nice. Fromage got a buff. I think it hits one more K now, 16K, if you have a full board, if you have the setup. And Reiji got its buff, the Soul Charge buff. So that's really cool. If you want to check that out, go check out the database, which is also in the description down below. We also have the skins. So these are all 50 medals each. We have the old skins, which are all 50 medals each. You get the Naoki skin if you bought the Naoki before. Unfortunately, it didn't come back. So we don't know when you'll be able to purchase the original Naoki skin to get the reverse one, but maybe eventually they'll get rerun. We have the PGs added to the medal shop. We have Easel added to the tournament reward shop. And we have Easel and Trumpeter sleeves. So that's nice. We also have Happy Monday gacha, 5 drops for 300 paid gems each Monday. So that's nice if you choose to spend some money into your hobbies. Link Joker is guaranteed to fall on Wednesday along with the other Kai clans except Great Nature. Thank you Reddit for correcting me. Just used to calling them the Kai clans. And then we have a lot of typos. So we have extreme typo, which says if you do not stand something, you get +5. Garmor says on the next turn, because it doesn't make sense that your units will be retired or lose intercept on your turn, on place turn. Until we get like Denell Griffin or something in the G era, this is not really that plausible and useful. We have Paradise Elk. It's on hit Karmas to draw 1. It doesn't need to hit a Vanguard, as does the other vanillas. And then Kado says, Karmas want to call a card from the top of their deck to an empty full stop. We don't have any empty full stops in this game. We have empty rearguard circles though, and that's exactly what this is. So yeah. And for the spice, we see how we have an update from the official Vanguard Zero account regarding things such as the SP Gacha and wanting to create an experience that isn't 1 to Japan. So you can read this up yourself. This is on Twitter, this is on Facebook, this is on Discord. I'm not going to link their Facebook or Twitter because you can just Google search Vanguard Zero Twitter or Vanguard Zero Facebook. And you have the Discord here. So overall, it's basically saying how they know a lot of players like myself are looking for the global Japanese version for expectations, and they've made some changes such as having ranking top 3,000, global exclusive Black Friday and Christmas related campaigns, and how they don't really want to have us expect that it's the exact same game. There's other stuff like they want to release it at an accelerated pace to close the gap between global and JP, such as the teams feature and prepared the global invasion campaign to support it. So it didn't really work together because global came out, the invasion campaign came out before the teams feature in JP, and then global is going to get a Lunar New Year campaign soon. In addition, because of all this stuff, because they're trying to change up the experience, some events will have to be rearranged while some were compressed or even skipped. And the priority is to create a fresh and exciting experience. So what are your thoughts with creating an exciting experience, best experience for all players? I personally, let's dissect this. From a business side, this is absolutely the right approach, right? You don't want to ruin the momentum of your revenue, right? Like if you had the SP medals and the general banner and everything at the beginning of the month and nothing near the middle or the end, well, this is what's going to happen at the beginning of the month. Your revenue is up, and then as people already have the cards, you're just going to dip. So it looks pretty bad, right? It's like it's very volatile. If you had clan events or clan medals, or if you had SP medals, or the normal like Aichi medals or whatever at the middle of the month, however, well, it's less volatile because, everyone who is impatient will roll early, and then it'll dip as time goes on, and then when there's a clan medal, spending will go up again. Keeping us on our toes is also good because then it'll be more impulse purchase than savings kind of purchasing, right? Because now we can't know what to expect. So when the clan medal comes out and then I'm missing some stuff, well, damn, I gotta do that now. I feel more inclined to spend whatever I have left or spend more money on it because I didn't expect it, right? While on the other hand, if we already know a clan event is clan banner is going to come out in like 2 weeks, well, we could just be saving and not opening the general banner. So in terms of the business side of things, it absolutely makes sense. For the all players side of things, I don't really know. Like, if you want to create a better experience, there are many things I would like to change in global first before taking a much more revenue focused approach in terms of the model. Clan events. We global players have clan events 2 weeks later than our JP counterparts, right? Like for example, Grand Blue, JP had it in the first week. Global is having it in week 2, right? Why are we doing this, right? Is it just because you want to keep that engagement going? Well, it also means that Grand Blue players have two less weeks to play their clans, right? It kind of sucks that way. If you are a clan event player, you understand that is not nice. You of course want to play it earlier. It's not on time. Some other stuff, like speaking of the delay of events and certain clans, global players already have a deficit of 2 to 3 months from their JP counterparts. We already have to wait for quite a while for your process and to play some clans, and the hype dies down sometimes. Of course, even if we don't know the banners, the specific banners, we still have the hindsight of knowing which clans are to come. But still, if you are trying to accelerate and close the gap between global and Japanese, well, I personally would like to see that more in action with, the events as well as the banners as well. And lastly, tournament experience as well. I mean, if you were talking about the player experience, there's a lot of facets, right? So, for example, for me, I would like to see more refined tournament support, right? Rather than just outsourcing and asking people to do your work and using Yu-Gi-Oh mascots, to promote your game. Maybe make it more concrete, so to speak. Give us the tournament support that JP has, even if it's like once a year rather than like quarterly, and often and consistent. It's been a while since we heard about Springfest, so let's get some news going, let's get some hype and some attention, because, well, I don't really know, as a global player, even though I am a global content creator, I don't know how long I want to stay in the space of global, because, well, it's not easy. It's not easy to generate as much hype as a global player already. So that is basically all from my perspective. I hope that you all understand that this is just my opinion, and yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, Vanguard Zero devs are saying they want to improve the player experience. Name one thing, one big thing, or multiple things as a whole that you think that they could really do, instead of changing for the banners for the worse. Definitely think that that's a great way to just crowdsource and gather some ideas for them, because, well, they seem like making some more money is more important than making the experience good enough to warrant us spending more money. So yeah, I guess that is all my opinion, that is all my thoughts and overview of JP Global Vanguard Zero news. I will end it off at this note. Because of what we're seeing with the changes that they want to make for a better experience, I will still proceed with the set overviews, but I hope everyone who's watching, and I will make a big disclaimer with the set overviews from now on, that things are not one-to-one. I always emphasize this, I always mention this, that we do not know what to expect. This is just a review of what JP had, but a lot of people just hold it as blindly or just sometimes things just don't go your way, and that's okay, because, well, it is a different game after all. But some things that will stay intact is that the gacha will probably be the same, and the cards inside the gacha will be the same, and the events will eventually see. So and the rewards should be roughly the same, right? So if that's the case, I think it's still worth it to cover. And on a more pessimistic note, I guess this is the end of this video. Again, I would like everyone to just comment down below the one or more major thing about player experience that you would like to see, whether that is tournament support, whether that is earlier clan events, on-time clan events, let's just say on time. Maybe you want to see Global and JP sped up and catching up together. Who knows? Because, well, I have a lot of thoughts, and I would like to hear yours as well. So that is all. Thank you all for watching. I hope they don't hate on us for that meme, and I will see you all soon. Bye.